Very nice. Firstly, the way the session would be, it will not be a monologue. I'll expect more and more questions from you. And don't worry whether the question is intelligent, unintelligent, bright or not. Don't bother about it. At this time, you must have a question in your mind and let it be settled. If you have continued question, it's not answered, it is generally no good. Let me start saying, UPSC Civil Service is a 3-stage examination process. Okay? You all know it. And the best part of it is that UPSC through Gazette notification tells you everything about this exam. How many of you have seen the Gazette notification? My advice to all of you, please go through the Gazette notification. Number one. Gazette of India, every year, when UPSC declares, it declares through the Gazette. And from the Gazette, everybody takes the information. So it is always good to read in the Gazette the conditions, the number of vacancies, curriculum, syllabi, everything is given. So please don't believe on anybody else, but only on what is given in the Gazette. So it is a wish list by the UPSC from the candidates. Am I right? So please do look at it. If it is not there, you request the center here, they would provide you that. It's only 1 page, 2 pages, you can photocopy and read. It may also be available on UPSC website. So my advice today, please, this evening itself, those who are starting preparation, for them it is a must that they look at this Gazette notification. The third stage, there are 4 candidates here which are going to appear for interview, which is called personality test. Gazette notification already tells you what is expected in this personality test. So for those also, please read that. It's about this para, which clearly tells you what is expected of you. Otherwise, keep on asking this question, what UPSC expects from me. UPSC's desire is already written there. To get that what is written, they try to ask you questions, they discuss with you, and they try to understand you, they try to judge you, they try to gauge you, they try to look at your personality, they try to look at your confidence and everything. So whatever you could offer to commission to show that you are a future bureaucrat or a leader, everything is tried to just. Is that right? Then, in the first process called preliminary exam, you all know about the preliminary exam? It got 2 papers. One paper is qualifier, and one paper whose marks are used to make you successful or unsuccessful to move the next stage. Okay? Paper 1, which is called generally general studies, they are not general knowledge. You should understand, and there are no quiz. They all are very thoughtful queries, questions. In the first stage being what is called the selecting the best choice, MCQs. The difference between the choices given is so narrow. It is not like the choices you get in your universities or get elsewhere. It is very, very close choice. Only those who read it carefully, only those who have read books properly, and only read good books can differentiate. The most important part is to differentiate rightly and answer accordingly. Have you ever appeared any of the MSQs, MQs, online, where you choose one of the option?
Yes.
How many of you? Okay. How many of you are engineers here? So most of you must have appeared in MQCs. The difference only lie, the standard would be not less than JEE. Like in IIT JEE exam, the questions are, they appear very simple, but there is something in them which you have to answer, and that is the difficulty. So it has to be very thorough preparation. All right? So one, that you should be able to differentiate, read the question carefully, look at the options possible, and you have to match between the question expectation and the answers given thereof. You must therefore practice. A lot of questions are available. UPSC's own website itself gives almost all the old questions. Nothing is hidden by UPSC. UPSC does not hide anything. All questions papers are available. You can practice. Okay? Except that they don't teach you. If anybody says that UPSC teaches you, they don't teach you. They don't look at your answer before you are actually a candidate. So don't rely and think that UPSC will guide you. You have to prepare, but they have not left anything which is not informed to you. There is nothing hidden. Is this clear to you now? Were you clear about this till now? I mean, before I start talking. You have not looked at the gadget, all of you. You did not look at the levels of differentiation. You have not seen the past questions. Have you seen the past questions? Did you find this difficulty? Anybody? You like to say something?
Questions are simple, options make it
Difficult. So, it cannot happen. The question will also be similar. But reading is reading. So, read it carefully so that you match. So, you develop a practice of reading questions carefully. Okay? Now, in university exam, you are a student of a particular subject, your teacher has been teaching that, and all students who are appearing in that paper in the university are in the same syllabi. Their competencies are also known, they are similar. But in this exam, there are students from all kinds of background. There would be Hindi literature, there would be Telugu, there would be Tamil, there would be history, there would be political science, there would be science, and there would be even some engineering students. Other day a student called me up saying, sir, I am taking mechanical engineering subject. I said, very good, he is a mechanical graduate. So it's a student choice. Therefore the questions would be such that all of you should be able to understand. But it will not be of your subject. It will not be like the university exam. So you just forget the way you handled the university exam. Yes, some of you must have been very bright, maybe in the first 10 ranks, where you learned to work very hard, also experimented with different kind of questions to prepare. How many of you think are in the top 10% of your class? How many of you, when you were doing your undergraduates, were in top 10% of your class? Huh? Not what?
Not in graduation, but in class 10.
See, between 10th and graduation moved a lot. I am looking because graduation is a qualification for this exam. Now, I am not saying that you should all be, but I tell you why it is helpful. When you try to be in the top in your class, who would top the class? One who is regular, one he will do lot of time management, third he will listen to his teachers, fourth his goal is clear that he want to be there. So that is what I always emphasize, that this exam, if you have to be in the top 1000, which are the vacancies, forget about the top 200 of IAS, you have to be the one who should be chosen. What is in you that you should be chosen? If you are in the top 10% of the class, I can say, yes, at least you worked very hard. If even there were 100 students you want to be in top 10, there are 90 not there. Look at here, 1000 out of how many? 12 lakh people apply every year. 6.5 lakh to 7 lakh actually appear. Degree of competencies among each student can be very superior. Some could be superior, some could be only fillers. You want to be filler or you want to be superior, your choice. You can be filler also. ठीक है, घर वालों ने कहा, the people have told you should appear, you are appearing. But that will not help at all. Your competition is tough, and for tough competition you have to prepare. Preparation means, preparation depends on what? Only two things. One, that you are ready to put your time, and secondly, your comprehension level. There are students who can study 8 hours and not get even 10% of marks. There would be people who spend only 3 hours but can get 80% of marks. That depends on when you read a book, how much you understand out of that book in that given time. It is not the reading important, it is the comprehension which is important. So maybe the first day you only understand this bit, but as you go days by day, you should be not only able to comprehend this much, but 5 pages, 10 pages, full chapter. That's how you have to go. So this habit to comprehend has to be cultivated. No coaching will cultivate for you. They will support you, they will give you material. There would be people who will explain your problems, but they cannot make a change in you. Coaching will not be 10 hours here, could be 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. You still have hours. In those 4 hours, what did you understand? If in your subject when you were a student, you did not concentrate, you will take time to concentrate here also. Particularly the subjects are so different, aren't they? You find it difficult? Suddenly you find that you are talking social science, and I doubt any of you have read social science recently. Any student who has social science graduate? 1, 2, that's it. So all of you have not done a paper on social science at all. So where is the ground? And he teaches you social science, you don't know the ABCD of it, it will take time. So preparing for this position, that you have to do some very massive preparation. And what are you doing for that? Anybody will say me? What are you doing? Some of you are beginners, no? What are you doing? Are you appearing? You gave last time, okay. They come later. First you have to come down to a ground. What is the ground? Is the prelim exam? The basics. The basics. The first paper deals with knowing your country. The history, geography, whatnot. Everything is written there. Is that right? How do you learn? You are doing engineering. 4 years you have not touched that. Engineering is such a rough area where you only calculate, do calculation, use computer, do design, and that's it. Not even written 2 pages or 10 pages of an essay. Nobody has written 10 pages recently? Have any of you written 10 pages on any given topic in recent time? No habit you have done. Maybe you attempt, second attempt? Huh? Yeah, so you are done. But as a student, did you do that? You should understand these subtle differences in what I normally recommend for all young students. It is good to read CBSE books, starting from 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. 12th science you can't do, many of you can't do 12th science easily. If you are not an engineering student, you can't do 12th science, because physics, chemistry, mathematics in 12th is fairly high standard. So if you think that you can run away and do 10 plus 2 science, is a misthinking. But do read geography, social studies, constitution, history, social science, political science, nothing better than those books. And those who are preparing, if you can't understand them in 1 month time, then you cannot make your progress. You have 1 month your command to understand those books, starting from 8th, 9th, 10th. Your book in 8th or 9th talks about probability statistics, which is a part of the second paper. The book in English talks about comprehension, writing bit of essays in grammar. There would also be language book, which you like to take at 10th. You would choose one language, na? One English is compulsory. So attempt that paper also. So in the first month, if you have done CBSE and also done paper on English and of the language, you are at a stage where you can take off. How many are ready for it? You have not seen the books? You have done civics, so it's fine. But you can't do in science. That's the problem. So you cover that. So please pledge, based on our own competencies, the brightest will do in 1 month, the sluggish will get in 2 months. With a consistent effort. And then you come at a stage where you are in a comfortable zone to understand what the coaching people are giving you. This is a minimum requirement. Any questions on it? Please ask, don't bother, because none of you have done it, I know it. I can read half of your faces and you have not done it. The second question I'll now come. You all want to become bureaucrat and you don't know why. Why do you want to become a bureaucrat? Serving the nation, serving people, mistaken. We are celebrating what Mahotsav, what is the Mahotsav going on now? Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Though it is 75th year, which I understand easily, but we are talking Amrit Mahotsav. Where is the Amrit here? Everybody is killing everybody. There is no Amrit. The point is that if bureaucrats would have solved the problem of this country, we would have been best in the world, which we are not. So this thought that you are coming to serve the people at large is mistaken completely, zero. Don't even think on that line. And as you would learn, some of you attend in 6 years, 6 times, 7 times, reaching age of 32, getting nothing in your life, then you would realize that it was not your interest. This exam is such that once you start taking this exam, you get into the trap. You think it will be done. But every year a new year. Every year is a new competition. Every year is a new young bright. So I have done 5 times does not mean I become brighter than the first one. The people who come in the first attempt, they must have something in them. Maybe they have done preparation earlier. Maybe they have more clarity. Maybe they have put in more effort. So there is a time you have to choose. Otherwise you will continue to do it. You reach an age of 32 and the darkness starts. So you should ask this question, why am I here? Why are you doing this? If you think you are doing it for country, forget. I am answering you correctly on this. So for what are you coming? And do you have those competencies and capabilities to become successful? Which in last many years, you didn't do. है ना? If somebody asked me once, how many hours do I study? You should know how many hours you want to study. I can assure you that in your life so far, you have not put 3 hours continuous study, except when you are preparing for the exam next day. How would you concentrate on a subject which you have not read? Even today, there are a lot of studies available that concentration span of any young person is not more than half an hour. आप करके देखिए किताब. Have you done? Have you read a book? How many you can say that I can read a book for 1 hour and not get bored? You have done that? You have done? Good. I am happy that one is done. But I have not found one. Lot of psychological studies available. And since my area was academics all through, I am not a bureaucrat. All of you know it. All of you know it. If you put my name on the Google, you can find all kinds of things. Okay? The fact that I remain to the best of the places, that's a different matter. But I am not a bureaucrat. But I am the one who made all the changes. So I understand better than anybody. Okay? I became chairman even without being a bureaucrat. So don't think that you can't be the top man without being a civil servant. Today the government of India takes from other areas at joint secretary level people. So it is not, if it is not your cup of tea, don't get in this trap. Once you are in the trap, 6 years are gone. And you can imagine, you are a young boy or girl of 21, 22, you become 28 and 30, and you are, imagine yourself, what will happen to you? Just imagine. सोच सकते हैं आप 6 साल के बाद क्या होगा आपको? These questions are hard questions you should answer before you decide why are you coming to civil service. Because every year only 200 IAS will be there out of 6.5 lakh. You have to do soul searching, isn't it? What is in me that I will be in the top 200? How many you think that you get in you? Definitely you have. In many of your multi-attempt, you know, it's not that easy. It looks to be easy, but it's not that easy. So there's something which you must have in you. Your determination, your motivation. I've seen students, demotivation to a level, for them to bring back into the life cycle is very difficult. I've been counseling n number of people. Please decide when you want to quit. There's nothing wrong to quit. Nobody says you have not done rightly. There's always a time. When you make a start, you make your best effort. You have to convince that my best effort has been done. Don't think that repeated attempts means the best attempt. If effort is there, the first could be the best. Second could be the next best. Every attempt makes you more demotivated, more under pressure, more under society's pressure, and confused. It should be clear to all of you. Is it clear to many of you? That if you just can't make in first 2 attempts, the pressure would be so much on you that you will fall in your own eyes. While parents were so very excited, after 2 years they will start asking you, भाई क्या प्रॉब्लम है, क्या करते हो, कोचिंग भी हुआ है, दिल्ली में भी बैठ लिया, everything has been done. Look at that. You start becoming higher and higher in age. Some of the girls are here, their parents put so much of pressure. अब तो शादी करनी है, 26 साल के हो गए, you are 26. If you are a boy, 30 years, they are still worried, you are not yet married. So lifespan is limited. In any race, it is important to decide to take the best effort. And when you know that you are not reaching the top, quit. And that decision to quit has to be very thoroughly understood. It is nothing wrong about it. It is not like saying the failures makes you more powerful. Those people who say the failures make me the best, you learn from failure, but this exam is a repetitive exam. You can do better thing in life elsewhere. That is where experience will come. But the experience in this exam, I am so sorry, it doesn't come. Because this exam is such, every year out of 6.5 lakh, 3 lakhs are new students. Can you imagine this? So your competition is not easy. Take first time, take second time. I am so sorry if somebody is here more than two attempts. They know it for sure. That every year, lakhs of lakh more new students will come. Who knows? Even 5% are brighter. Then they become 5,000. So don't try to be in a dilemma that having started, I must complete. I am saying take your chances, take the chances to a point where you think I have done my best. And some of you would say, how do I check I have done my best? Do you know how to determine how to do best? You can find out. You each have certain capabilities, which you know, nobody knows. Your parents don't know, I don't know, but you know for sure what are your own capabilities. And you also know how much work you can do, how much comprehension you have, how much retention you have, how much explanations you can make, and what is the level of confidence and motivation you will have. It's pure individual affair. I can give you a thesis on motivation, but that won't help. Does it help you? You can't do an experiment on it. Motivation comes from the goal. Goal is clear and I know the goal. Goal is that I have to be in top 1000 and every year my competition increasing. If forget 3 lakhs, at least 1 lakh new student come. And if 5% are brighter than you, you had it, finished. So in each attempt, have you created some more differential for you? You have not evaluated. So I tell most of the young students, there is nothing wrong to wait forever, 6 years for UPSC, wait till 32 years and 34. When you are selected 32, you don't even become secretary in the government of India. You know, when you are 22, you become cabinet secretary. When you are 27, 28, you can become secretary government of India. At the age of 32, when you come service, today retirement is 60. You have only 28 years service, you hardly become secretary government of India. Then why are you coming? You can become a professor, you become professor in IIT and get a higher salary than any of them. And everybody respects you, you are in IIT. Baba, kya baat hai? IIT. I narrate you two very interesting issues on this. Most of you know that I taught in IIT. And to get into IIT is not easy. I had to do my PhD then when people never thought, being an engineer. And then you come to IIT, get selected, not through anything, but through an open selection, where thousands people apply, and you are chosen one. And then you had your work. You teach, you research, you bring projects. Nobody does so much of work which IIT faculty does. But then the advantages. I travelled from UK when there was so much of constraint on whatever you bring from outside. आपको ध्यान होगा earlier, the custom would not allow many things to come. It's the world different today. Today you can bring anything. You come to custom, they ask you, where are you going, sir? I said, I am going to IIT. He said, what are you in IIT? I said, teach. Sir, why are you waiting? Please go. The respect you get, you don't demand it. I was not in a position, he is not I am not his boss. But there are professions where you get respect. And of course, we all know, IITs have that respect. And many universities do. So I am saying it is not end of life. Is it end of life? What will happen? Even if you become a collector in Uttar Pradesh, one city, nobody will know you in Delhi. Unless you come in to become a Secretary Government of India. And half of you will worry whether I will get my home state or not. If by chance I get into my eastern part of the country, I am doomed. So even then you are not happy. So having done all that hard work and attempt, you are not too sure what you want. People ask me, sir, if I get in the northeast, what will happen? I said, you will remain part of this country. You will still come to the government of India. That day a boy argued me and I said, why did you ask your home state? What is that will you do in home state? Anybody know what is home state selection?
Yes, sir.
You choose cadre, na? Home state. What is home state cadre? That you belong to a state which you want to go. If I ask you, why do you want to go? What will be the answer? Anybody? Family is there everywhere. It is with you. When you have posted your mother, father, everybody will go with you. Huh? Achha, what are you aware of? Which state are you? You are from? Tell me what you know about Haryana. And what will you do? Has any collector done anything with Haryana? Let me tell the pressure, which you don't know. People who have gone to Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, they have done the best in their lives. You should always go to a cadre where there is less political interference. Otherwise, life is miserable. Minister will come in, run over you. In your city where you live, if you come back as a collector, firstly they will not post you. People will come you, mujhe help kar do. Can you put my son in the job? You are not helping nation then. Will you become honest then? When you go to a different place, make your name. People know and remember you. You should understand this country's governance process. Go into one state where you are not listened. Will you go there? What will you do? 11 years, they don't look at you at all. आपका आज ट्रांसफर हो गया, कल यहाँ हो गया. Because you are not the favored one. In favored one, only one which they deliver what they are asking. So there are challenges everywhere. Do you understand now? If you are a good worker, there must be respect everywhere. This country is one country. And I know the best governed states. The state of Orissa today, completely run by bureaucrats. Because CM believes that the bureaucrats have knowledge. If you give them a freedom, they would create systems which are transparent, honest, and state prosperous. And that's why you're running 4 terms now. No bureaucrat say that ever a question was asked by the minister. Can you give me another example of a state? Puducherry is small. It is a part of UT group. We all know about Jharkhand. They are still the charge, the previous chief minister is still in the, just coming it out. Well, you all know, we are in the Bhimari state. Karnataka is one, yes. Forward-looking state. Maharashtra is one, yes. Gujarat, to that extent. Kerala, though it's a politically divided state, but still everybody works. So, please look at the future working. It's not all very rosy as you think. So, when you decide why do you want to come, you should understand. I have seen when I was director first triple IT in this country, it was made in Gwalior. And I could see collectors standing almost third day on the airport to receive one minister, the second and the third. Bajpayee came from the same city, Scindia came from the same city. So every time both will come, chief minister would come, poor collectors standing on the airport. That's what you want to become a collector. In mind you, salaries is not different. You can take those perks which fall under the realms of misuse. Otherwise, you are given the same thing which is given any government officer, except that he get a car. He gets same salary, but he get to support his work, his office, his power, and that power permits him one car. You can have 6 cars, but that's all misuse of a position. So please think 3 times. Understand how the governance works. Talk to some people. Have you ever met a good, bright young collector? Nobody? You met. Anybody? You met. Okay, good. What did they say? Tell me, what did he say? Huh? Okay. What did she say?
I didn't talk to her like this.
You just met her. Okay. Anybody talk to a collector?
So I didn't talk to a collector but a CEO of Maharashtra.
Maharashtra. Which district?
Latur district.
Latur. Okay. I am quite aware of Maharashtra. Go ahead and tell me, what did he tell?
So the work pressure is quite high.
Yes. Tell everybody.
Time constraint is problem.
Yeah, just stand up and say. Therefore, then you listen. What are you working for? Yeah.
So the work pressure is quite high. Time constraint is quite a lot. One cannot give time for personal life also. Even the goals, whatever we have decided earlier, the civil service, it will be quite less to devote time to those goals.
And what about his family?
He has his wife. His wife is CA, but he couldn't. He is not able to give her a proper job according to her profession.
So now you understand?
But however, sir, he is quite a lot contributing in education of small kids, Malwadi, Anganwadi areas, and also disabled children.
Now, is that what you came? I can contribute to Anganwadi education. I have done much better than that. Do I require to that? I am not dissuading. Please understand. I am trying to make you understand for the effort you require to come into that position. And I want you to do that soul searching in you and motivate you to put that kind of effort. Disillusionment can be very high. I want you to quit at some point of time when you think my life is going to finish. Prepare 2 hours, 2 years, 3 years. Then the question is, when do you take an attempt? All of you want to take an attempt, UPSC? For what? It's not compulsory for you. You are not a BA student, MA student, university conduct exam, you must attempt. It's not compulsory on you. It is your choice. When do you want to take the exam? When would you like to take exam? Tell me. When you think and sure that within my 90% of judgment, I should qualify it. Is that correct? Only then you will take an attempt. So now look at the first prelim. First I said 2 months of your preparation of the books by CBSE. Then I said look at English and the language. Then UPSC has given all question papers. So what is the first challenge which each of you have? Huh? Pressure is yours. I can't believe. I mean, I wouldn't comment on it. I am saying the requirements. I notice people say, I must take an attempt to know how the exam occurs. The exam occurs, everybody knows. Why do you want to take an attempt? You know for sure you will not qualify, I can assure you. If that was not true, firstly, out of 10 lakh, only 6.5 lakh appear. So they know. And out of 6 lakhs also, I can tell you, 3 lakhs are non-serious candidates. You want to be one of the non-serious candidates? So are you in top 2 lakh students? And how do you judge that? For example, if you are in this coaching center, they will give you tests, you will get some marks. You just multiply such coaching centers in this country and look at if you were here number 1 At least there would be 100, 200 more in this country. So you are one among 200, 300. That too when you are preparing here. When actual exam would appear, your performance likely to go down. It is psychologically known that when you take actual exam, performance is always lesser than even the most honest student. Forget about those who are not serious student. They judge themselves very high and the results are very low. Serious students judge themselves to correctly up to 90% correctness. Chances is that your performance will reduce to 70%. So now you see, everything is very understandable. If you understand it very carefully and clearly, your preparations would be better. Otherwise, you will keep on going in knots and knots and knots. Don't appear, prepare, come to coaching, whatever you want to do. Don't take chance till you are sure that you qualify prelim. So you can give past 10 prelims, get 70% marks with negative marks in it. So you can't guess. Because when I was chairman, I looked at a lot of people make guesses. And probability theory says 25% guesses can be correct. We created negative marks. So while you lose that question incorrect, you also lose in positive terms. So you have to be very, very sure. Your studies have to be very thorough. So take your studies very thorough. And read only good books. Don't read the notes by others. While you read, make your own notes. Not by copying, but read, comprehend, make notes. Most of you don't do that. Most of you read and make notes, books say, and then think I'll read the notes once again. Whole idea of making notes is that you have understood it and written in your own language. They don't want to repeat a language of the author of the book. They are not asking you. They don't ask you a definition or a law or a rule. They don't ask you that. They require what you understood, and the question itself would be such that there would be no recall. Ma'am ko pata hai, you would also know. Are there recall questions? Are there questions where you recall your memory and answer? They are not. So you require breadth in learning. Breadth. If you are reading a chapter in history, read it carefully, understood also the various dimensions around it. One book is not sufficient. It's not a textbook. And guide available to you is last year papers are with you. Okay? So all of you must get the last 5-7 years papers, look at, understand them clearly, and start your preparations. So don't take an attempt till you are sure within 90% of certainty that you qualify. There's no advantage, those 6 attempts are given, but any negative results takes you back. And the better judgment by you would ensure which is right. If you come first attempt the prelim qualify, your level goes up. I've seen students, their motivation goes up, and they also qualify the mains. If you don't qualify the prelim, main to dehi, you can't give the mains, but your levels of motivation coming down, then you start thinking, should I give it? Not next time. So confusion starts. So why don't kill this confusion right in the beginning? I wait 1 year, nothing wrong. Prepare very hard, take my tests, be very sure. 90% can convert to 100% on that day, depending on your question and depending on how much you answer. Is that correct? Is this understood? Any doubts and questions on it? Please ask.
Is it true that some of the questions from prelims are deliberately made harder to eliminate people?
It is obvious. If I have out of 6.5 lakh, I have to choose 15,000, how would I choose? I have to eliminate rest. So the paper is designed to eliminate. It's university exam nahi hai na. Everybody is not supposed to take 100% in it. I have to eliminate. So degree of difficulty would be very high. How would I eliminate? Isn't it correct? Even if top 100 of you are in the same rank, same marks, I have to still make you 1 to 100. So the methods are given there. It will not happen that all 100 will be taken. If you are at a stage, for example, we take marks, say for example, at 700 is a cutoff. Suddenly I find at 690, 100 student, I will not take all 100. So it's a process of elimination. First paper is designed to eliminate huge number of students. And therefore one of the toughest part of the exam. Nothing is in control except question, right demarcation, differentiation, correctly answering, no negatives. I think the cutoffs are generally known now. They must be currently 70% and above.
It was 92. Out of 200 to 92, I think.
Yeah. But generally it should be more than 60%. You want to be successful? Sure to get into 60%. So please this be understood. The second problem here is in the prelim. Previously in my time, we had 2 papers and both were counted towards your ranking. Paper 2 earlier used to be an option paper. But there were a lot of complaint court cases. In my time, I made a change that second paper will also be common. So you are playing on the same wicket. It is not different. It is the same bowler. It is the same UPSC paper. UPSC is a bowler, you are a batsman or batter. It is the same pitch. Same fielders. Examination cannot change because it is the computing. So what is the difference now? Those who have better techniques of learning, they will learn it better, they will answer better. Now when there were 2 papers, and some of us who are in education know it, that more the marks, if your paper is 100, if I do this paper convert into 1000 marks, same paper, what will happen? Teacher can still give you 995 marks. How would you give out of 100, 95.5? It still come lower, he cannot differentiate. So the problem today in prelim is that you are graded only out of 200 marks. So your ranking is done out of 200 marks, where you can't expect that a negative question will be there. But then it hits you. The second point is that the qualifier has to be done. In qualifier, marks will not be 20%. I normally expect should be about 40-45% or maybe 30 to 40. So you can't neglect. I am told they declare also what are the qualifier marks. Could you neglect it? You have to put time. So proportion time has to be given to do this activity, which is only getting you to the second stage. Similar also lie with the language. If you don't qualify English or the mother tongue or language you take, your other papers are not seen. So whatever work you hard you have done, if you missed your qualifier, you are finished. So first thing first, therefore, is be sure that the qualifier is done. Those who are engineering students, they will understand. We have wall through which either you go or you don't go. Go, no go wall. Have you heard any of you? People in electronics, any electronics student here? You? Have you heard this wall called go, no go? Yeah. There are flip flops which are go, no go, in which either it opens or it closes. So these papers which are qualifiers are go, no go. If you don't qualify, anything which you have done is useless. Most of the students do not put any effort on it and find any problem. So, first thing first, 10 plus 2 books, followed by compulsory papers, ensuring that you at least be in the 40% rank. Don't prepare for 20 and 30, because you don't know what paper would come. So, a level should be 40 to 45, 50%. And then only then you start doing the prelim paper 1. So, by doing CBSE, you have done the prelim started already, but simultaneously now do the paper 2, which is nothing but English comprehension and bit of statistics. They used to be part of the paper 1 earlier, which I removed, put it paper 2, and also ask you some questions on what a bureaucrat should do in difficult conditions, which is called ethical way of working, nothing else. कोई theory नहीं पूछते, no theories are there, it is the experience through which you have to answer those questions. So, those who had no experience, no possible interaction, they find it so difficult, they mug these things, and when mugging questions don't come, you flop. So, it requires more of your personality, which must have developed as a student. You must have been observant, you must have read newspapers, you have read magazines. Not read magazines to qualify mains, please understand. You have to read more about the society, more about people, to know to answer the paper in the paper 2. And you read number of examples, what one bureaucrat did and what conditions and what happens when law and orders happen. Your comprehensions become better. But unfortunately, nobody does this way. And they keep on mugging things, and when question is not in that line, you fail. And then you ask me, there are 4 candidates, sir, how do I develop my personality test? What will I ask you now? Your personality is not made in 2 months' time. You are here in coaching, sitting in your rooms and reading only this. Where is the chance to build your personality? By writing a hobby which you are not actually good at, you are making life miserable. As my friend said, in high school he did it. So he did everything in school, nothing in university. How many were you the leaders in university? Hardly any. 1, 2, maybe 5. That's it. That means you do a lot of other activities. Learn team working, learn compassion, learn honesty, learn organization, and that's what builds the personality. You talk to people. I can't make you talk now, can I? I cannot. Talking to, expressing yourself, communication, written, oral communications are different, aren't they? Written communication is very different than the oral communication. If you ask me what I am talking, I will not be able to write. I am telling you this. I am a poor writer, but I am a great speaker. Because I have comprehended everything. And to convince you my point of view, I will use all possible mechanisms to convince you. And that's all I have been doing. Have I not been doing that? I am not guiding you. I have been trying to convince a path and a road or a road map which will make you successful. I cannot convince you what subject you should take, what you shouldn't take. I won't do that. Why should I do this? I should prepare you to make a difference. Am I right? So, in the preliminary stage, you are not choosing any subject. But I notice, you come first time, you first choose the subject. You start preparing this. In 90% of time, you are not taking the same subject which was a graduation. How many of you are taking same subject which is of your graduation? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This out of the crowd takes about 10%. So, presumably, only 10% of people will take the subject of the graduation. Now, question is it good or bad? Tell me. Can I take a bit of a high chair now? Think it over and answer. Because all of you have not taken. When you study a subject for 3 years, what do you learn? If you are a good student in your graduation, and if the subject is available, they all take the same subject. For example, if she has done social science BA, why shouldn't we say sociology as subject? You would, but I don't know whether you have taken or not. You have taken or not? Yeah. But any engineering boy, has he taken any science subject? For them, mathematics would have been so easy. Because they know each book, they know vocabulary, and they know textbook which are available. The best of it. Even if there are only 3 engineering subjects in it, in my time I tried to cut down the syllabi. You have done mechanical engineering, why don't you take it? Because many of you were not really good in your studies then. If you were, then all the books you have, all your teacher notes you have, all your examination papers you have to just revise and revise. Now look at the situation. Now you are taking a paper on history. When did you read history? Which year? Any engineering student here? You. When did you read history last? 10th. And nothing very serious about it. It's part of a social studies. Am I right? Now you suddenly taking a paper for which you have to acquire competencies to be selected. How do you visualize this? It happen in 1 year? Can it happen in 1 year? So you at least require 1 year to become even knowing the vocabulary of that subject. You can mug it up, yes I know. But if the question does not come out of the mugging questions, you are flopped completely. So this is the disadvantage when you try to change from a degree discipline. But no, somebody will say, नहीं, UPSC तो लेता नहीं है इसमें से. But you don't even appear. If mathematics people appear, they get selected. People with physics get appear. I had 3 students of mine who appeared with physics and qualified. But then you are very sure what you are writing and what is the correct. But no. So those who are bright student, those who are self-learners in their studies, can I get a cup of tea without sugar? So those students who are serious normally should choose subject nearby their subject. It gives you a head start. Because the time which you require to start the process of learning of a new subject, and therefore you try to ignore the prelim and start preparing for the main paper first, because that's a new for you. You have to prepare that. She is not required to prepare because she knows her graduation is social science, she knows the books, she knows the, and she has studied for 3 years. Same topics. It's only undergraduate syllabi. Now she can very surely, if she wants, concentrate completely on prelim. And with 10 to 15% time for mains. Because that's the biggest hurdle. For most of you not choosing that subject, you are committing 80% of time to that paper. Am I wrong? How many of you are taking subject other than? Some of you are in the many attempts. Did you change your subject? Yeah. So you could have somebody who told you that concentrate only on prelim, the life would have been easy. And I tell you why I am saying so. It's not difficult at all. And that is where the proper guidance doesn't come, which you are getting luckily. Prelim is the killer. Passing that hurdle is the most difficult one. You know it for sure. 6.5 lakh, 15,000 must. And that number is fixed. Number of vacancies multiplied by certain number they have already given, 13 to 15, that they qualify. Assuming their maximum would be 15,000 vacancies, 15,000, 1200 vacancies, 18,000, that all will happen. It will not change. So there is an advantage to taking your subject which you studied for 3 years. If you are one who never studied, luckily there was a girl yesterday which in some other place I was talking, and they were mostly students appearing for mains, and this was the only girl. You remember what she said? She said, sir, मुझे subject नहीं पता because I copied in past. She is a graduate in a subject for which she completely copied. She didn't know the area in which she graduated. That's a level of education. And she was not alone. 90% of you are the same. And this competition requires very bright people to come in. So you have to start your life once again, which you didn't do in your undergraduate. You have to start from zero. Start working hard. Start comprehending. Start more reading. So life's journey starts. So people who take more than number of attempts are only those for them the journey just starts. If you were a good student, you have done a head start. As a hobby, I still remember when I was a very young child in school, and I couldn't afford very good books. So there used to be books called Hind pocket books. Have you heard this? There are publishers of abridged version of the best of the books. So the best of the authors which are available in multi languages, I read them all in Hindi pocket books. So I knew the context, I knew the hero, I knew the plot. So this started building in you. I didn't learn Devdas from the film. I learned Devdas from Devdas novel. And there would be a difference. A visual presentation cinema does not give you the correct picture. If I wanted to know something about my scriptures, I read through books called from Kalyan, the Gita Press, Gurukul, which is very famous, very cheap. But today nobody did read them. That's how you built your learning capabilities. As engineering student, I remember reading all through one newspaper, one in my mother tongue, one in English, and also reading one by the time in second year, the Economic Times. Because as an engineer, it was my duty to go into the world of business, to join a company. How many of you done this? Now you will try to go through personality test. How will it happen? Half of you will not even know who is the editor of Indian Express today. At least when you read a newspaper, you should know from where it is published, what year it is published, who is the editor, who has been a past editor. Some of these have been very illustrious people. So this habit of continuously knowing new things is a requirement of civil service. Every day is a new day. Every day is a new learning. Every day is new comprehension. Every day is new things are learned. India is not 5 years old. India is 1,000 years old. They can ask you, please tell me what is the difference between a Gurukul education system and the education system of today. So you would have read somewhere. One is that when you prepare for ancient India as a part of general studies, you learn. Other could have been you learned in journal, magazines and books. Just to give example, if you want to learn more about an environment, which day is environment day? Which June? He said 5th June. What you say? This day is celebrated every year. And why I picked it? And that is where you don't retain these things in your mind. Now, if you look at 5th June around, starting from 30th of May till 10th of June, the number of articles written on environment in all possible magazines and newspaper is more than what you read through the textbook. Have you seen this ever? On the day when Constitution Day is celebrated, there will be a lot of articles on it. You have to cultivate that habit. Then you need not prepare for personality test. It will come automatically to you. If you have to now read about corona, is it right? We have lived 2 years with it. You should be able to answer everything. But no, you will go back again, try to read it. Some of you talking about Chandrayaan, you will again read about it. If something else is happening, you will again go and read it. But this is how it doesn't happen. So please, you are starting your life once again. I have already told you, those who are made their lives earlier, they knew what competitions are, they have a headstrong ahead for you. You have to now compete with them. And when you start your life, become a better judge of yourself. आपके गोल्स मैंने सेट किए पहले 3 महीने में. You have to do CBSE, you have to do English, you have to do the mother tongue. If you are not able to do that, don't think of appearing in the prelim. I am saying with all my confidence. And some of you are here who has appeared number of times, they won't know. How many of you have you? How many times you appeared? 4 times. If you want to listen to him, what are the difficulties he can tell you? Books was the same. It didn't change. Did it change? Nothing changed. So prepare yourself to the first attempt. And that should always be the best attempt. Am I right, friend? Did you try that? You didn't. I am telling each of you, there is nothing wrong to waste 1 year. But sure that success for you. Anybody telling you, nahi, you must appear, forget. Judge yourself. Okay, can we take some light 5 minutes break? If any light questions you want to ask me by that time. You can ask me questions now. Because I'll take a breather, otherwise I'm too tired by then.
Sir, I want to ask.
Stand up and, yeah, stand up. It's okay, fine.
Sir, basically I wanted to know in mains paper, those examiner who check the exam, like in university exam or in 11th, 12th, we have seen teachers are given marking scheme from which they see the model answer and then they check. Is it also the same in UPSC, like they are given any model answer?
Was it given to you?
No.
When you appear in 10th exam?
Teachers show.
Yeah, please understand. The question is, when you did your university exam, teachers are giving the marking scheme. Is it given in UPSC or not? Understand the question? Is it your doubts in mind? How many of you got that marking scheme when you appeared in an exam? Did you get anybody? At any exam in your high school when you appeared, did board, please sit down. Did board give you the marking scheme? Only then you appeared in 10th? What did you do? You worked very hard, appeared in exam and waited for the marks. Even if you have known what marking scheme would it be, could you manipulate it? You cannot. So this thinking alone, that I should know how it will be calculated. If you had that scheme and you calculated marks, did you apply to university to change your marks? Did you do? Then for what are you requiring it? It is demotivates you, please understand. Because you are not working hard. If the questions are given, we know that 60% marks are required to qualify, you can calculate how many marks you will get. If you are a good student. At least here the examiner does not know you. College examiner तो आपको जानता है. If he is unhappy with you, he will give you less marks. So this question alone is so stupid that I will only prepare the exam when I know what kind of marking occurs. How would you eliminate a question? How would you answer? The question is based on facts. Question has to be based on your judgment and analysis. How will you change your analysis? Can you change? So why this question? I never ask any student, my student never asked me this question. IITs we taught and we examined. Question paper known to them, even then they won't come. They have a courage that they are prepared well and they got what they want. This question only comes in those minds who don't have confidence. I'll cite an example. I won't say my son, when come from exam from day one, when he was a 9th standard boy, he'll come back home, calculate marks, keep it, give it to us, and wait for the final results. It was correct within 5%. And I learned from him that each student who actually sit in the exam knows for sure what has he written. There is nobody on earth. आप मुझे बताइए, is any candidate here who does not know what has he written? Any of you? When you gave exam, did you know what have you written? And did you get marks much lower than what did you write? Never happen. It will never ever happen. Nobody is against you. You have to be judged by the same standard like all other students would be judged. Even if it is given, this will change every year. Even if there is a prescription given, it will change every year. So please don't go into that kind of situation. You don't prepare examination. Firstly, you don't know who will be the examiner. I also don't know. As a chairman UPSC, my 6 years as chairman and 5 years as a member, I never knew who is the examiner. Tell me. I didn't know who set the question paper. I knew they showed me the question paper in the end, but just showed. I can't even keep a copy. I have not given more than 10 minutes. A system so transparent, honest, which no point goes against you. You should only work hard and appear. No doubts in your mind should be there. This system is completely uncorruptible. We have not lost any case in courts, not a single case. And now court simply says UPSC is done fine, good. And no bureaucrat will listen to you. You also don't know this. Bureaucrats believe they are here because UPSC was conducting exam. The poorest of poor has become an IS. The mightiest also become an IS. So this opportunity which is equal to all without bias, if you have done your best, you have 90% chance to get selected. Nobody can influence, nobody. So please don't raise any questions in mind. Commission can never be approached. Nobody knows in commission what is the question paper. Not even the examiner knows what is the question paper. So something very serious is done. And I don't prepare my exam that I know on this topic how much marks I will get. Say, if I say map got 10 marks, okay? Now I have given a map which is very different. In one time the map was identify these locations on the map. And it was a compulsory paper. So very young group of collectors told me, sir, your paper is predictable. I said, okay, let's try next year. The question paper map was not compulsory. It was put in number 8 and it was not asked. It was asked, please mark which produces the maximum thermal power in this country. Now what will you do? You will not be able to answer. And that is what I have been emphasizing you. the paper would change every year. Otherwise, prelim में क्या होता है? Prelim could have been cakewalk, but everything is different. Because reading is so limited. Don't limit your reading. This exam is not by following what you call the notes which are prepared. You remember in school days, I was before the exam 3 days, they will sell out what's called a gas paper. You remember that? How many you remember? I come from a small town, so people sell gas papers. Question bank. 5 best questions which are likely to come. Because their objective was to pass. Out of 5, 1 will appear, you will pass. But here pass will not help you. Will it help you? Because all 1000 will pass. And you have to be number 1. To become number 1, learning, learning and learning. Learning, articulation, writing. Nothing else. Any other questions of this nature? Though he asked me a right question, many people have this doubt. But all can answer, not me, because I've been a teacher through my life. I have never leaked my question paper. And I've checked copies thoroughly. UPSC checks copies much more better. ठीक है ना? Please.
Actually, sir, my follow-up question was like including current affairs more can give us more marks.
क्वेश्चन पेपर में जब नहीं है तो कहाँ है?
Sir,
If current affairs is not in the question, what will you do? Say for example, they are discussing, please tell us the election reforms as per the constitution. What is current affair in it? मेन में इसी तरह क्वेश्चंस होंगे, प्रीलिम में भी ऐसे होंगे. बताइए इसमें क्या मैं उसको बताऊंगा एग्जामिनर को?
any amendment if it is in the
Tell me, question, raise me question, I will tell you. Why don't you raise a question? I will tell you. A good candidate is one who can raise questions. And this art of predicting your own question paper is people have. Now, can you ask me any question which he is saying? He is saying, he wanted to follow this question. Will there be more emphasis on current affair? अरे भाई वो तो क्वेश्चन में जो पूछा है, whatever has been asked in question, only that will answer. How can you emphasize something else? If the question on whether the economic situation in Akbar time was better than was in Aurangzeb time, they will not ask you what is it the best that the current Prime Minister has done this? No question will come of that kind. They don't talk of politicians in UPSC.
So, what kind of a thought process they want from us?
No thought process, correctness and rightness, that's it. Yeah.
What should be the role of coaching institutes in our aspirate?
I have been telling you all through.
And what should be a dependency from this side?
Dependency as much as you get your information and the material, rest is self-learning. They help you to evaluate your performance, but you can evaluate better yourself. So your own task is 80%, their task is 20%. But that 20% requires 4 hours per day. Reduce your weight.
By looking at the GS papers from 1 to 4, we can understand these qualities we want in an administrative. Like they need to understand about the history, the geography, the polity of the country. But what is the role of our optional subject which given the emphasis of 500 marks?
What should be done? Why did you go to university? मैं 10+2 वाले लड़के के पास भी ये सब क्वालिटीज होती हैं. I would take 10+2 pass to become a bureaucrat. What's wrong? And I train them. It is possible. When you go to university, you learn for your life. You learn to live with people, you learn to become team, you learn to understand country, you become mature. In school you are only 16 years old, 18 years old. By the time you graduate, you know what you want. University allows you to build your personality. University allows you that whatever you've done for 16, 18 years, have you learned it properly? So there is nothing wrong. After all, as a bureaucrat, you also try to learn what are the Police Act of 1670. Why do you learn then? It's the same. Each learning gives you virtue. Each learning brings your personality. University learnings improves your horizon. Today you are an engineer, horizon must be very big. You know how to handle a problem. You know how to divide a problem into a number of small elements. You know what tools can be selected. You know the future technology going to come. And let me tell you, people may believe or not believe, those who are bright engineers coming in, they are making a world of difference. Because they are so quick to understand the problem, divide into number of parts and create solutions, the teams, and do it. So that's where university helps. We want to let you articulate what did you learn? Did you learn? Did you understand it? Can you understand and explain to me? Is this clear? So, actually to me it is important. In my time this question had come to me. Everyone wanted 2, I reduced to 1. Because I wanted to create, the problem was different. I wanted to create a similar background for everybody. But then the moment I would have finished the prelim, all of you would not have gone to university at all. You would have all be sitting in coaching center, like it happens in JEE. The coacher also provide you school where you don't go and don't even do experiments. So all coaching center will start giving you a graduate degree. Even today that route is available. You take Indira Gandhi degree and relax. The second point, you also understand, today's parents want that at least you have some degree with you. If you are not selected here, something good can be done. Out of 10 lakh, only 1,000 will be selected. If you are not the one unlucky, if you don't select after 6 attempts, what will you do? Will you go to university again? What will you do? You can't even open a shop. No girl will marry you. क्या करेंगे फिर आप? Did you see the social angle? If you are not selected, and chances are only 1% is selected. 12 lakh, 1,000. What will you do? Today you are a graduate. Some of our engineers can go back to jobs. Some of you are not engineers and they can go do MA and PhDs, become teachers. What will you do? How many you can become entrepreneur with 10 plus 2? How many? If you could become entrepreneur, you will not come here. Some of the brightest students who are trying to become entrepreneur today, they don't even look at this exam. And that's why you remember, we are currently number 3 in the world in startups. And you have seen, when Hotmail was sold many years ago, you remember that? It was one Indian academics who was in US, built this Hotmail, and we sold it after 10 years of its existence. What kind of money did he get? You remember this? He almost got $1 billion. Your whole life you will not get that. And the power he has in name. That's why university degree is required. Okay? So don't neglect, even in personality test, when you come, they ask you what did you do in degree. They try to judge you, what were you doing in the university. Any other question before I finish my tea and start the second leg? So far so good, or any way you want difference? Is it been okay with you, or anywhere there? Any questions you have? Are you okay with, or shall I mix with Hindi and speak? Is okay? Anybody, any problems? Have you started doing some introspection already? Have you started doing some introspection or not? By the time when you go back and do that introspection, what he said, and tomorrow you will come a better candidate. You should come with clarity, no doubts. So I wish that you prepare well and appear when you think 90% ready to qualify prelim. Have I made my point? I have given a number of reasons. I have also given you the approach to prepare for it. Fine? So please do not take an attempt. You might come 2 years coaching center, doesn't matter. But making attempt does not help you. Am I right? Good. Second consists of 2 compulsory qualifiers, which I want you to prepare in the first 3 months. Then comes a paper on essay. None of us have been writing 10 pages essay. Nobody will ask you. That you have to do. And that you can only do when you read more essays. So start writing on each of the topic once in fortnight, an essay of more than 15 pages. And one of the important part in essay is it must have a thought process going from start to end. It cannot be assemblage of thoughts, 5, 6, it does not become an essay. So every fortnight, even coaching center says or not, you start writing your views, ideas, improve your writing, improve your quality of writing. It is 250 marks. A good student will take to 150. %% students is took to about 1900 marks. And for your happiness, instead of 1 essay, I have done 2 essays. Earlier it used to be 1 essay which required almost 30 pages. Today there are 2 essays, and both the essays are depends on your general studies. If you understood general studies better, you could articulate, you could understand. So if your reading is good, you can write in good essays. And then your 4 general studies paper and 2 papers from the elective. I have spoken enough on electives already. Now please understand, how many are the marks in the written? 5 papers of 250 marks, which is common to all. Okay? 500 marks of the subject you choose. It generally appears that you at least require 50 to 55% of marks, so that you got good marks in written to qualify in the written and personality test put together. If you got poor marks in the written, the best of the score in personality test cannot pull you up. The rejection in the mains is only 16,000 to 2,500. So 1 in 6. But the difficulty comes when you come to personality test, where rejection is 1 will be taken, other will not be taken. But then that is the total sum of your achievements in written and the personality test. Obviously, the focus will have to be more on scoring heavily in the written exam, where complete syllabus is known, books are available, you have been coached, you have learnt. The chances therefore is that you should do better there. Even within those marks, you take disproportionate time. Why? Because you have not taken your degree subject as the subject. You therefore put more time in preparing for the subject you have chosen. I am not talking about some very bright people. They would be. But common person takes more time. He has to learn for 1 year, then the second year and the third year. Normally people do come possibly in the second attempt or the third attempt. For such people, coming in first attempt is rare. It is not impossible, it is rare. The reasons are obvious. You have chosen an alien subject which you didn't know, and everything is so different. If you are mentally ready to do it and you have that brightness of comprehension, you can. So you take more time, doesn't matter. They give you attempts. Okay. So you have possibility of 1250 marks where you don't put your emphasis. If you have prepared prelim well in these 5 papers, you would have been good enough to be selected in the mains. Out of 1250, you can get 800. What is wrong? 60%. Am I right? But then we put so much of emphasis on the elective, and there again we get 50%, mind you. I remember 1 year out of 500, 285 in social studies came, or 300. This is almost the maximum. So why not those are common papers try to score better? Which nobody stops you to prepare every day. And hope that your 1 year, 1.5 year preparation of the optional subject will get you 50% marks. And if you can't get in 2 year preparation 50% marks, forget. So concentrate on essay, concentrate on 4 general studies, and get out of 250 at least 60 to 65% marks. And that will make all the difference. So this change strategy is simple. Unlike a disproportionate time to the optional subject. For example, if you don't even prepare for optional subject, and if you have chosen your own subject of degree nearby, because all subjects may not be there. If you are computer science, it will not be there, I accept. But in humanities, social sciences, all papers are there. If you are a physics person, why should you choose other? You take physics and you will easily get 50%, not a problem. And then you concentrate more on common papers, qualify in the first attempt. Does it appear to be a good strategy? What I am saying? Or not? नहीं? Confusion है कुछ? Yeah, please go ahead. They unfortunately asked me to speak to you 2 hours, therefore I am doing. So that is a strategy. And then the last leg is, prelim is only qualifying to be in the mains. Marks are not carried. Mains is a very exhaustive exam, because there we have asked your opinion, we have judged your learning, we have known what is the knowledge you have acquired. So mains mainly looks at you, your knowledge base, your understanding of issues, and trying to put on a piece of paper in a most coherent manner. That means your expression. Strategy I have given. Then once you qualify that, comes to the last leg. And in this batch there are few students in the last leg. So now my next 15 minutes would be only for them. I have already told about how does the personality builds. Have I said? You start learning this habit of reading newspaper. Not that I am preparing for competition. If I live in a small town, some of you would be in a small town, all of you are not from big towns, you would like to know what is happening around you. So you will not look at Hindu, you will look at in the local newspaper. They will tell you within your district what are the development work, what are the calamities, what are the education setup, what are the health challenges, what are the road issues, which infrastructure has come. So immediately you are learning, because what they ask you, you should know the places where you are there. Now you can't be all the places, but if you read a local newspaper, you come to know what is happening around you, at least in your own state. So it is not now you have to learn. As you keep learning newspaper, reading newspaper, and you can start reading newspaper from the page you like most. Like for example, even today I start my newspaper reading from a sports page. That's my interest. The politics come the last, because that is where the confusion starts. Because all said in the first page make no sense. It will neither select your government, nor talks about policy in detail. It only sensationalize a particular issue to market and brand. So first your interest in hobby, somebody may have interest in page 3, somebody may have interest in films, somebody might have interest in sports, and then the economic activity and the political activity. That's how the newspaper is built. Am I right? And there are certain issues each newspaper discusses. Every week, newspaper also talks about culture and literature. So read your newspaper accordingly. Take a newspaper whose language you can understand. I confess to you, I could not understand the language of Reader Digest. I did not read it. I hardly follow language of Hindu. I also don't read it. I am very happy with Hindustan Times or Indian Express because there are two different views. I also read magazines which give me two different views. I'll better sit with India Today and in probably Frontline to balance both the views. So reading Hindu or any other newspaper, I don't make my view. I make my view by reading two different aspects of a same problem. You can find a newspaper which is the RSS mouthpiece called Panchajanya. You can read it, nothing wrong. You will get one view. If you read another newspaper which communists publish, you have another view. Create your own balanced mind and make a view. Your personality is built. Your discussion power comes. Your pros and cons known. Balance comes. So you learn about your state, you learn about your district. To know about the country and international, take a national newspaper. Take one newspaper which gives a good coverage, it is not too much colored. Indian press is today highly colored, therefore read two newspapers to get a right view. Don't try to predict in your mind, बोर्ड क्या पूछेगा, किस चीज़ से खुश होगा. यहाँ पे ऐसे नहीं होता है. फिल्म का डायलॉग है ना कौन सा, बिल्ला खुश हुआ या रंगा खुश हुआ, नहीं कुछ होता है. Commission members are very honest people and the board which comes is very eminent people. They want to listen your view, a very understanding standing which you have. And this only come by reading and living with it. Don't concoct your hobbies. That's a killer. What is a hobby by definition? What is a hobby? Yeah? Anybody want to say what is a hobby?
What you like doing in your free time.
Good. Very precise. Can you rise up and say this again?
Hobby is something which we like to do in our free time.
In the point there is that you like the most. If there is an opportunity, what you like the best, will like to do. To distress yourself. In fact, to actually build your personality, it is used. It's not required if you want to read a book. You should always read Tolstoy or Dostoevsky or anybody. You can read anything. But you should know what reading gets you into you. You should understand the way he writes, they understand the situation he creates. There's nothing wrong to do cooking, but you should know really why do you do cooking. If they ask you some tangent question on cooking, you are nowhere. So don't concoct a hobby. There they expect you do it by choice. This exam you are not doing by choice, it's compulsion because somebody said you will become bureaucrat. But when you are doing this hobby, you are not under compulsion, you are doing by choice. And they expect that you know much better in that area. So don't try to create a hobby. 90% of you create these hobbies unnecessarily. And when these hobbies questions are asked, they find out you are lying. And once they find out that you are lying, you get 0. Straight away. So one of the best part is that you are honest all the time. In what is truth, you must be able to speak. There are no definitions asked. It is not the law first law of thermodynamics, or it is not the Newton's law they want to define. They talk about the country, the people, the economics, the development. They ask your views. They ask how much you have understood, how much you have assimilated, how much you live with these problems. You live in Delhi and to cross 10 kilometers, I require 1.5 hours. I am worried. What should I do? I must have a solution. You want to become bureaucrat? Why? The gentleman said he wanted to do something good in education. So do you know about new education policy? What part of new education policy you can implement? If you think in terms of that future is the disruptive technologies, AI, everybody talks AI. Even she's social science, she has to answer on AI. So AI is no more the computer science subject or electronics. 4G, 5G is not the subject of science, technology. You should know. You should know what is machine learning. You should know what is 3D printing. So all disruptive technologies must be known. Because today we live in digital India. We should be able to answer on the government policies. You might disagree with some of the policy, nobody stops you doing that. But then you must have reasons to disagree. It cannot happen, sir, मुझे तो पसंद ही नहीं है. You are not selecting your bride, Baba, or bridegroom. I can understand. You are selecting your bride, you can say, I don't like you. Even that is not permitted. But still you can say, I don't want to marry. You want to select your bridegroom, you can say, no, he smokes, I don't like. But here you can't say no. The question has been asked to you. They want to look at you, how much you know, and how do you make your opinion. And you can only make opinion when you know what is they are talking, what has been talked in past, and what are the other people who are critics are talking, and then you make your stand. You may agree with the government, you may disagree with the government, You may go to the people who are agitating, you may go to the people any other way. Nobody says that you be with them. Am I right? So personality is built. Don't ever lie. Don't bring your parents. Don't bring a politician. If they ask you who is your role model, you say Narendra Modi ji, it will not cut you ice. Avoid the present politician. Though there is nothing wrong that you are influenced by the Prime Minister. But normally nobody would try to discuss the present person in position. It is belittling him. Not that it is criticism of him. Whatever he is there, the country is chosen, he is the chosen one, and he is supposed to do best, his capabilities, which each one would do. You can criticize his policies. If somebody says, no, in his time the GDP developed better, which is not correct. 3 years of corona, our GDP gone down by 24%, down minus. So even if it is 8% now, it will only come to 0. So you must understand these data and come up. But that's not a criticism of Mr. Modi, who is the Prime Minister. Don't get into that. Even if the question is asked, learn to avoid. You can coolly say, sir, he is the present Prime Minister chosen by the country. It will be unwise for me to discuss about him. If there are questions on policy, I am willing to answer. Say that politely. Don't get into problem. You understand? I have also given you an answer. But the fact remains, the policy you must read, the policy to whom is helped, not helped, you should know. And on that, nobody stops you. Don't try to bring father as a role model, mother as a role model, which for everybody is there. There are only two entities in the world, the mother and the father. Mother number 1, father number 2, who will always look good for you. They are there to support you. Mother is always. Father come next. He thinks मैंने पैसा दिया, मेरी responsibility over. Mother will not do that. So saying that they are my role model doesn't help you. Does it help you? Role model generally is one which gives you a perception, a different view world. Like Gandhi, he can be a role model. He lived his life. He not only said what he wanted to say, he also lived it. Each thing which he did in his life is experimented with it. If he thought ahimsa is the best, he did ahimsa. If he thought he must wear less because the country men were half clad, he did it himself. If he said untouchability is a crime, he lived with him. So role models are those which leaves a very lasting impression to build in your lifetime. They bring virtues in you, they bring quality in you. So don't try to fall in trap of that. For example, many people say, and I have nothing against Mrs. Bedi, they say she is our role model. Nobody will please you. She was a bureaucrat. Half the bureaucrat would be against her, half the bureaucrat for her. But this will not happen in case of Kalam. You can learn many things from him. Things which can stand in your life forever. Speaking truth, working very hard, learning from calamities, doing the best, make use the best, whatever available. They are the role models. You can talk about a teacher who inbuilt in you the culture of learning. He brought in you a culture of respect. They are the role models. Successful people cannot be a role model because if you say Narayana Murthy is a role model, how much you know about him? Yes, you want to become him. That's your goal. But he becomes your role model only when his life is open book. Your role model should have in open life. You understand now? And most of you make that mistake. I wish you all best. I must say I have never done 2-hour session, and today I have done, which is one of the best sessions. Because I thought this is my time to tell you that if you even articulate what I said, 50% can make it. But if you are honest, I don't spend so much of time to people because I expect all of you are making an attempt to civil service would be at that stage. But today I have a feeling you have missed that. Yes. Now 3 questions and over. Yeah.
About hobbies, we don't know about any hobbies, sir.
So no hobbies. Right, no hobbies. Don't say rural. I come from rural background. So please don't tell me.
After coming to the city, I came to aware about.
I knew when I was in village, Baba. I did few things by my choice. I played volleyball in my school. The school was till 8th standard in the village. I did high jump in village. You think you don't do in village things? You do n number of things in village. I still remember when I was a child of 4th standard, they were telling us about composting. And they learned, and at that time everybody defecate out. You remember? Today in the country we don't defecate out. And we were told the processes of after defecating, what do you do? So we learned. Actually you learn maximum in village. You learn the crops. So the observation comes when you live in more difficult life. I didn't learn anything in Delhi. I am living in Delhi now. What's 1970 onward? All my learning came when I was in village. I remember we used to have 100 acres, 100 bighas of land, and we have sugarcane crop. So we had 2 servants at home. Not all farmers have. So when sugarcane used to be crushed, you know how is it crushed in villages? You have to go around. So if there is no servant, you said you go. So as a child of 6 years, 8 years, we were going around. So we learned that patience to be full 1 hour going around that track. So you learn compassion, you learn patience, you learn to obey, and you learn the art that nothing is small. My last lesson for you I will give you. Again I quote when I was in village. It must be I 4 years, 4th standard. That means 7, 8 years. We have an area where there were a lot of water table up. You know water table? So we have a well where water table was 8 feet. So it was not difficult to pull water 8 feet. I can understand there are villages where water table is 40 feet. You can't easily pull. You require a lot of effort. Servants are gone. My mother asked me, can you go and get water to the buffaloes? I was naive, I didn't know. I took the buffalo for feeding. System is very simple. You put a container, you put water, pull the water, put it, and she drinks. I was young, I didn't know, so I thought it's a summer time, let me put some water on her. And then I had it. Buffalo is one who, his skin is so hot that she wants always in water. She would move. I had to pull out 40 times till some elderly person came and he said, you are a fool. She will never move out from here. So every moment makes you learn and you miss that learning. It's a very simple example. कभी आपने किया नहीं है इसको. You have not seen a buffalo. You leave a buffalo, it will remain in the pond. It's a muddy pond, it will remain there. It's not cow. Cow behave differently. Cow wants a dry area. So this little differentiation adds value to life. So hard work, understanding. So if I would have known, then I wouldn't have made that mistake. With lesser effort, I would have made her happy and she would have gone. But no, I made a mistake. So planning your studies is a must. Okay? Thank you.